All right, Republicans, you all want to play? Let's play. So Kamala Harris puts out a tweet and says, as Vice President, I've had the privilege of visiting Arlington National Cemetery several times. It is a solemn place, a place where we come together to honor American heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service of this nation. And J.D. Vance replied and said, President Trump was there at the invitation of families who loved ones died because of your incompetence. Why don't you get off social media and go launch an investigation into their unnecessary deaths? All right, JD, you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. So let's talk about some facts, shall we? That you can go Google. Don't just take my word for it. But it was Trump, not Biden, who negotiated directly with the Taliban and excluded the Afghan army. It was Trump, not Biden, who drew down U.S. forces from 13,000 to 2,500, making them vulnerable. It was Trump, not Biden, who ordered the release of 5,000 Taliban fighters from prison. And guess what? One of them became the leader of Afghanistan. It was Trump, not Biden, that wanted to invite the leaders of the Taliban to Camp David on the anniversary of September 11th. It was Trump, not Biden, who agreed to a May 1st exit from Afghanistan, then bragged that he didn't need an exit strategy. It was Trump, not Biden, who refused to brief Biden's incoming team of the situation in Afghanistan. It was Trump, not Biden, who boasted that withdrawal of U.S. troops he had set in motion could not be stopped. So you guys want to tell me again how he had nothing to do with the Afghanistan withdrawal and it was all Joe Biden's fault? And allow me to remind you that Joe Biden's administration asked for an extension and the Taliban told them no. Said as the evacuation gained momentum that the Taliban leaders rejected a suggestion from President Biden that the American forces might remain past August 31st deadline to complete the operation, injecting fresh urgency into an already frantic process. So again, Biden wasn't presented with a plan, he was presented with a timeline. And then when he tried to put the plan in place and realized that he probably didn't have enough time, he asked for an extension and it was denied. So keep that in mind moving forward. Now let's hear from one of the mothers from the 13 soldiers we lost in Afghanistan.
What would you say to people who may be pro-Trump, anti-Trump, whatever their politics might be, who just feel like that's not a place for politicians or for politics?
I would have to say, are you in my shoes? I invited him. My son was murdered under the Biden-Harris administration.
You know what's sad? If you go look at that video, you can see her eyes moving from side to side as she reads that talking point. So my question is, when she says, are you in my shoes? Is she talking about the 400,000 other soldiers' families, that are buried there? Because they all, abide by the law. And the saddest part is that a federal worker literally tried to stop them from doing this, and they pushed her aside and did it anyway. So it's like, don't play like you didn't know. You knew what you were doing. I'm very sorry you lost your son, ma'am, but that doesn't mean that you get to negate all the other families. See, what about all the other families that are in your shoes who have come out and said that they were not okay with their loved one's headstone being in your propaganda video and your propaganda photos? So, see, I see why you support Trump, because you don't care about anybody else around you. It's all about you. But while you all are trashing people that aren't actually responsible for the death of your loved ones, let me remind you what Trump actually thinks of the military.
It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets or they're dead. She gets it. And she's a healthy, beautiful woman. It's very... And they're rated equal.
Besides the fact that my brain just melted, I'm just curious. What did Miriam Adelson do to get that medal? Marry a rich guy who donated a bunch of money to your campaigns? And finally, allow me to remind you that Trump was too much of a coward to go back to Dover Air Force Base and receive the bodies of our soldiers that died under his administration because he got talked to badly. Yeah, tell me some more about Biden looking at his watch while at least he showed up.